But man, what a week to miss a football game. I had a wedding to attend. I was not able to be here post-game. I checked my phone during the after the ceremony, obviously, at the reception, and I see Quinn Ewers is hurt. That's like the first thing I saw. That's exactly when I tuned in, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's freaking awesome. I wonder what it is. So, and people are overreacting, melting down online, and I'm thinking, great. Is this guy out for the season? Because this is what everyone is making it seem like. Then I go and watch the clips and everything, and I realize, okay, he looks hurt, and it looks serious, but he was able to walk off the field. There was nothing wrong with his legs, and I saw him move his arms around, so his shoulders were good. So I'm like, what is this? And we come to find out it's an abdominal injury, and he hurt it on the throw to Gunnar Helm, where Gunnar Helm made a fantastic play running down the sideline and then hurting a defender. And my parents were asking me, how does someone hurt their abdomen when they don't really get hit? Torque, guys, torque. It's just like a pitcher. You're a lot of torque here, and weak obliques, weak abdomen muscles, not working the core enough, Quinn. You need to work on that because you're giving me a scare over here. And we'll get into this game. Texas beats UTSA 56-7. It was an absolute boat racing. Not much to take away from this game on the Texas side. UTSA is not a very good football team at all. They're definitely not the UTSA of a couple years ago. You don't have Frank Harris there. You don't have Zachary Franklin there. You don't have Trey Moore there, who is now on the Texas sideline. So I'm not surprised that they blew them out. I think my prediction in that game was 48-17. I didn't think Texas would cover, and I've been wrong all three times. I didn't think Texas would cover any of the three opening games. They have covered every game, and they face their biggest spread this week. We'll get into that game later as well. But Arch Manning comes in relief. He was fantastic. 9 of 12, 223 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions for him, and then 1 touchdown on the ground as well. He showed off that speed that we've been talking about. Us Texas fans have heard about it for a while, the ones that have been dialed in every day since he's been here. He reached 21 miles per hour running the ball, which equates to around a mid 40-second 40-yard dash. Man, that's hard for me to say. So he's probably running 4.45 40-yard dash. That is really good for a quarterback, especially with someone with a rocket arm like him. Overall, I'll push that back. We're going to get into Quinn versus Arch in a second. We'll talk about the other guys for right now. Quinn was 14 of 16 in his limited duty for 185 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception for Quinn Ewers. I thought he was fantastic. He had 1 interception that was bad. Basically, what I said he's got better at. His footwork was really sloppy on that play. Drops back to pass. There was a little bit of heat there, but not much. He looked down the field, couldn't find anyone, was going to check it down, and for whatever reason got happy feet, kind of threw off his back foot. Not even really. It was like levitating off his back foot. Sails the running back Trey Weiser in the flat, and it's picked off. If he had his feet set and they were good, it would have been a completion. He didn't, and it's an interception. If Quinn Ewers hasn't 100% nailed down the footwork, but it's way better than it used to be. That was the only one time this year, honestly, where I've said, wow, that's terrible footwork. So he can work on that when he gets back into the fold. Jarrett Gibson, I said from the first game, I thought this guy had the most juice in the running back room just by watching him. I think that's clear now. Jane Blue misses this game, and Jarrett Gibson has a pretty good game. 13 rushes for 75 yards. He fumbled, though. And that is what happens with first-time freshman running backs or even first-time running backs. We saw that with Jane Blue getting a lot of carries last year. He fumbled a couple times when he shouldn't have. And it's something I think you have to live with early on, especially with all the injuries we have. But overall, I think Jarrett Gibson should be getting more touches, and I think you're going to see that in the future. And just like this guy, we're going to go to the defensive side for a second. 3 sacks for Texas. It's the most in any game this year for the Longhorns. Colin Simmons has 1 sack. Colton Bosick has 1 sack. And Leona Lafau has 1 sack at the linebacker position. Colin Simmons had his most snaps of the year with 30. He had 1 sack. He was also second on the team in tackles. I said this guy should be getting more playing time. Just, again, he's jumping off the film when he's on the field, and he's got more playing time. I think it's smart. I love everything about how the staff handles things, guys. I really do. They basically ease these guys in instead of just throwing them into the mix, and you see results when they get eased in instead of throwing them in there, and then they're confused by what they see. That isn't happening. Because you're easing them in, they're getting used to what they're seeing. They're playing more, and when they play more, slowly and steadily, they make better plays, and they have results showing on the field, which then in turn gives them confidence. And you see that with Jarrett Gibson. You see that with Colin Simmons. You're seeing that. We'll go back to the other side of the ball now with Ryan Wingo. 3 receptions, 127 yards. He was the leading receiver yards-wise, and 1 touchdown for him. The touchdown to me wasn't the best play for him. It was when Arch Manning made that beautiful throw, rolling out to the left and throwing back right on the run. Doesn't even turn his hips to face up like you should. Throws it. That is all arm talent and core. And Ryan Wingo makes a hell of a jump ball catch down the left sideline. So that is what next year's team is going to look like. And hell, they're looking pretty damn good in 2024 as well. Isaiah Bond, 5 receptions, 103 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I said I wanted to see more explosive plays in this game. Bada bing, bada boom. They did that. That was beautiful to see. Isaiah Bond caught 1 pass to the backfield. Listen, he's not as fast as Xavier Worthy, but he has better acceleration, in my opinion. That guy gets from 0 to 60 so damn fast. When he caught that ball in the backfield, I'm like, oh, this is going to be a nice 5-10 yard game. Bang! He hits the sideline, and he is gone. There's no one anywhere close to him when he reaches top speed. And then Gunnar Helm, 1 reception, 49 yards. I tried to do prize picks, guys. I wanted to hit Gunnar Helm's over prize picks-wise. This is a free ad, I guess, but he was at like 29 yards. I'm like, that is ridiculous. He can get 1 or 2 catches and get that. He got 1 catch for 49 yards. That would have been an easy over for me there, but I couldn't do it. Prize Picks fixture website's terrible, honestly. And then Jonte Cook also had 2 touchdowns, and DeAndre Moore gets his first touchdown as a Texas Longhorn on Arch Manning's first pass of the game. Comes in, delivers DeAndre Moore on the run, a dot right where it needed to be, and it was beautiful to see. So let's go to the good and bad let's go to UTSA first, then we'll go to the good and the bad. UTSA, we held them to 4 of 21 on 3rd and 4th down. Right now, Texas is the number 15 third down team in the country on defense. Last year, we were actually number 1, guys, so it's a slight fall off, but honestly, it's really hard back-to-back years to be in that upper echelon of teams on defensive third down. So it's very impressive to even be at number 15 right now. If you go look throughout the history, guys, I did a deep dive into this when we were looking at past national championships and what it took. That 2021 Georgia defense, which is regarded as one of the best of all time, and I would agree with that, they were not good on third down defense. You can go check it. I think they were in the 20s or in the 30s. Like, they were good, but to what you thought they'd be, being like one of the best defenses ever, they weren't that good. They were in the 30s, I believe. And then only 14 first downs allowed, so that's very impressive as well. And then this was astounding to me. They about ran the same amount of plays, UTSA and Texas. Texas held UTSA to 3.77 yards per play. That has been phenomenal. I thought this was the best quarterback we faced all year. I said that going into the game. I think Owen McCown has talent. I think, honestly, if I'm him, I'm looking to transfer out of UTSA because I'm going to be straight up honest. I don't think your head coach is going to be there, brother. So I think you should get out because he's a good athlete. He had a pretty good arm. He was pretty accurate. I think he can go help some teams. Honestly, right now, if Owen McCown was on Michigan would be a lot better. They really would. This guy's not that bad. He's, like I said, the best quarterback I think we've played so far. Now, let's get to the good and the bad that I saw from Texas in this game. They hit plenty of big plays. I think they had 6 or 7 plays over 20 yards in this game, which is phenomenal. That's what I wanted to see. Versus lesser competition, guys, I want to see you have less penalties than them, and I want you to kill them with explosive plays because you have better athletes. And you saw that in this game. The athletic ability of Texas on the outside won in a lot of different ways. On the defensive end position, you saw that with Colin Simmons and those guys. And then with the wide receivers, you saw that. So that was phenomenal to see. Very good job for Texas for that. That is the best game so far this year that we've hit explosive plays. And then they only gave up 1 sack, which is phenomenal as well. This offensive line has been doing a really good job. Kelvin Banks also tried to give us a heart attack there. When I got all this information afterwards and then or beforehand, before I got to watch the game. I sat down and watched it. Thank you to Texas Clips and Nash, by the way. You save a lot of time with that. Go follow them on Twitter or on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, guys. I watched it obviously on YouTube, and it's a 45-minute game instead of a 2-hour game, so that was awesome. Kelvin Banks obviously gave me a scare. If I wouldn't have known beforehand that he went down and then got back in the game, that really would have given me a scare because I think he is the number 1 guy on the team you cannot lose. He is the best offensive lineman in the country. I think that's been pretty clear through 3 weeks of the season. No offense to Will Campbell, but he's kind of honestly been overrated, just like LSU's whole offensive line, just like I told you LSU's team as a whole was. 3 sacks on the game as well for Texas, getting to UTSA and Owen McCown, which is the most on the season, which is good, but we still need to up that number. That needs to be better. We only have, I think, 5 sacks total on the year. That's not good enough. That needs to be more. Only 19 points given up on this season for the defense. That is phenomenal. I do not care who you play, guys. You can tell by the way this team is playing. Way more fundamentally sound. There's no breakdowns. They have better rush lanes. They're better in pass coverage, and also they're better tackling. So just all around a better defense. They're also super fast. I used to be a Colts fan back in the day, and then I turned into a Broncos fan when Peyton Manning left. Bada bing, whatever. Call me a fair weather fan. I don't care. That's kind of what this team reminds me of. They're really fast and fundamentally sound. They don't really have that much talent, honestly. I think they have talent, but they don't have like Georgia talent. They don't even have Oklahoma as a better overall talent on the defensive side of the ball than we do. We just play more fundamentally sound football than they do. And I think we're way more athletic than they are on defense as well. So overall, very, very good on the defensive side of the ball, only 19 points given up. It's going to be interesting when we do finally play like a good offense, which honestly, guys, looking at our schedule and thinking about it, Mississippi State's offense is not good. Oklahoma's offense so far has not been good. Georgia's offense, probably not that good. And when I'm saying good, I'm saying top 15 type offense. I don't know if we play a top 15 type offense right now. I think the best offense we might play all year is Arkansas. I really think that watching Arkansas, Taylon Green and Bobby Petrino, I think they would represent a pretty big challenge for the Texas defense. That might be the best offense we play all regular season, honestly. So that would be kind of scary going in a potential SEC championship matchup with like an Alabama, Ole Miss, or Tennessee, because those offenses are very explosive, and that's something Texas may never face in the regular season. But guess what? We'll worry about that when we get there. Things we need to get better at. Only thing on defense I want to see better, or on offense, is need to run better. 5.3 yards per carry versus UTSA is not acceptable. That number needs to be in the 7-8 range. You should be absolutely mauling them up front, and we're just not doing that. Pass protection's been fine. Catching out of the backfield for the running backs has been fine, but they need to find better lanes in the running game, and they need to maul people better up front. And then cut down on the penalties. We actually had more penalties than UTSA. We had 7. They only had 3 or 4. That should not be happening. We have better athletes. We have better coaches. We have better players. We should have less penalties in games like that. We should be able to overwhelm them to where they're basically holding or committing penalties almost every couple plays, guys. And that's just not happening right now. So that's the only thing I would say as a team on the whole that needs to be better is cut down on penalties, and especially Cameron Williams. Like, I was easy on him in the Michigan game because that's your first road start. You need to be better at UTSA. I think he had 1 or 2 procedural penalties. Again, that's unacceptable at home, so be better there.